Emily is friends with this older witch who is a witch who deals in hope magic. Every time you have like a vision, it ends up draining some of your life force to the point that eventually you become a husk of yourself and you die. Apparently it's a kingdom in the sky, which also gave me Studio Ghibli vibes. If you want to read this, don't read the inside flap. Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. I do apologize if my voice sounds funny. I got sick last week and I'm still getting over that a little bit. But today is like the first day since getting sick where I feel like I've had energy to start a video. And so I'm really happy about that because there's been a book that I've been wanting to start, but I just haven't had the energy, and also I want to vlog it. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. We're going to be doing a reading vlog, and we're going to be reading a standalone YA fantasy book that just came out at the end of February. And it is Unlock the Dark by Sasa Hawk. Hi, editing Ashley popping in here. So my next clip where I talk about what the book is about, for whatever reason my microphone must have disconnected because my sound is awful in that next clip. And it's weird because then the next clip right after that, where I continue talking about what the book is about, my microphone is working again, so I don't know what was going on there. So I thought I'd just refilm what I said in that clip where the sound was bad now, and then we'll just transition into the next clip where the sound is fine and where I continue talking about the book. So, in this book, our main character is Elia, and she has magical powers that, when combined with the powers of her father, allow her to open a portal to anywhere. However, recently her father has been dying, and she has been using her magic to keep him alive because the only way that she can provide for her and her siblings is through using their combined magic. However, since she is using her magic to keep her father alive, the god of death is feeling cheated, and so he retaliates by taking her youngest brother hostage. And so, desperate to save her youngest brother, she ends up accepting a dangerous quest from a young book-smart prince. And he promises that in exchange for her finding a legendary scroll, that he will marry her and then he'll take care of her and her siblings for the rest of their lives. So then she'll be able to let her father go and hopefully get back her youngest brother from the god of death. And so I'm just really excited to start this because it sounds like everything that I love in my YA fantasy. And on the back, an author describes this book as utterly atmospheric and whimsical. A magical adventure filled with curses, romance, and monsters. And that just makes me even more excited to read this. And that's like the vibes that the description is giving me. It seems like this has the potential to be my first 5-star YA fantasy read of the year. So that would be amazing if this is that. So it sounds like the love interest is going to be a cinnamon roll character, and that just makes me really excited because I love cinnamon roll love interests. And so yeah, I am going to go start this, and once I've read a little bit of this, I'll be back with my first thoughts. Hi, so I'm back with a reading update. I have made it to page 98, chapter 10. And so far, I am really enjoying this. It's been a very delightful read so far. Right from chapter 1, I felt myself pulled into the story. So in chapter 1, you get introduced to Elia, and you get to see her using her magic. She's a key conjurista, so she can create a key and unlock pretty much anything. So in chapter 1, she is doing a job for these scholars, and she is unlocking a box for them, and she doesn't really know what is in the box, but at this particular moment she realizes that all of the scholars in the room are all like teenagers, and there's no like master scholars in the room, so that makes her like really suspicious. And she looks at them again and she's like, are you sure like the thing that's in here is harmless? Because she's suspicious. And they're like, oh yeah, it is. And then so some things end up happening and they end up opening the box, and what is in the box is just like inappropriate poetry. That was what was locked in this box. And so like the first whole chapter was just very funny to read. And so Elia's magic is the first magic that we get introduced to, but then after we start to learn about other people's magic as well. So in this world, most of the people seem to develop a certain type of magic, and there seems just to be like a wide range of different types of magic. And a lot of the magic feels like very whimsical, and so far it's very much giving me like a Studio Ghibli feeling. For example, she has a friend who is a baker who uses like her magic in her baked goods, which I love that. And she has a brother who is a threadlorist, which is pretty much sewing magic. So those people have the power to like sew living stories into fabrics, which I also thought was really cool and really like whimsical and fairy tale feeling. Third example is her family is friends with this older witch who is a witch who deals in hope magic. And so far I'm just really much enjoying the magic system of this world. Now that being said, there are some more darker types of magic as well. For example, the book mentions that you could be touched by a god, and then so if you are god touched, you become what is known as a fate, and so you end up being like a seer for that god, and you get great magical power. But the downside is this power that you have, every time you have like a vision, it ends up draining some of your life force to the point that eventually you become a husk of yourself and you die. So that's a darker part of the magic in this world. And unfortunately, at the beginning of the book, her youngest brother, who is only 8 years old, ends up becoming god-touched by the god of death. And this is kind of unheard for someone that young to become god-touched. But Elia's family is pretty sure that it's a punishment for them keeping her father alive through using Elia's magic. And so now Elia is trying to do everything in her power to get her brother out of this situation. And I'm loving Elia as main character. I just love her drive and how she'll do anything to protect her siblings. And then not too long after this ends up happening to her brother, the love interest of our story ends up approaching Elia with a job. He wants her to create a doorway to this certain place, and this place is called Saratura. And essentially not a lot of people know that it even exists, and apparently it's a kingdom in the sky, which also gave me Studio Ghibli vibes and made me specifically think of Castle in the Sky. However, apparently Elia has been there before and some things happened and she was apparently banned from it. And I was like, what? Like, that is very intriguing. I need to know more about this kingdom in the sky and why Elia was banned from it. And it says, like, on page 38, it says, Saratora had once been Elia's haven, a second home of sorts, but she'd ruined that with her hubris and her pride. So it seems like she knew the place really well and something happened, so I need to know more. And so, of course, because of this, like, if she goes back there, apparently she'll be killed if she gets caught. So she refuses to help him at first, but he comes back again to try to get her to do it, and at this point she's starting to get desperate and she really needs a way to save her brother, so she does end up finally accepting his request and taking the job. And that's kind of where I'm at in the story right now. But can I just say, like, so our main male love interest, his name is Tristafarian Light Dragon. And again, my brain just goes to Halloween Castle because Light Dragon reminds me of the name that was used in that movie, with one of Hall's names being Pendragon. And also, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name Tristafarian right, and so I apologize if I'm saying that completely wrong. But he goes by the nickname of Tris, which again, it's Trys, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. But he is the 9th prince to the throne. And so far I'm really liking his character. He's definitely like the bookworm type, and he talks about how his magic is very much rooted in academics. And on page 70, he says, "I spent my entire life in libraries." And then about his magic, he says, "My magic focuses on history, myth, legends, and all the overlap in those areas that can unveil truth for those willing to look." You come to find out that he wants to go to Saratora because apparently in their library there's this scroll called the Scroll of Peace, and he wants to use the peace to end war in their kingdom because their kingdom has been at war for like forever. And he lost his brother in the war, and it pretty much ripped apart his entire family, so he wants to like stop that from happening to anyone else. And he's just like so precious so far. And also Elia has admitted that he's handsome, and he called her beautiful, so there's some attraction already going on between the two of them. So I just really can't wait to see the relationship between the two of them get developed some more. So those are all my thoughts for now. I'm definitely enjoying this. I'm having fun with this so far, and it's definitely giving me like those whimsical, cozy vibes that I've been trying to find in my reading lately, because I just need those right now because life has been rough. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break now. I need to start dinner because I have to do some prep work, and I need to get it done on the earlier side tonight because my husband has his band practice. So I'm going to do that, and then later I will probably read some more of this, or I might end up watching a Ghibli movie tonight because this is making me want to watch one. But we shall see, and I will be back later when I have another update. Hi, so I had my dinner and I'm reading again, and I'm on chapter 12, page 124, and Elia and Trice have gone to the other world, to the world in the sky, and they're talking to people there, and one of them says about Elia's powers that your God touch came with a sorrow touch too, didn't it? And I need to know what it means by a sorrow touch. Are some of their powers double-edged? Do they have like a good side but then also a not so good side that kind of balances out the good? I just need to know more. This is interesting. So they're heading to the library to try to find the scroll, and Elia remarks that magically trained animals act as library assistants. That's very interesting. It sounds very fun. Hi, so I'm migrating to my living room now, and I think I'm going to stop reading for the night. I made it to page 151, chapter 14. I'm starting to get tired. I feel like my energy levels have not like completely recovered yet from being sick. So I'm gonna call it for reading for the night. And I think I am gonna put on a movie. And I think I'm gonna watch Castle in the Sky. Although I might not finish this tonight because I didn't realize it, but it's like 125 minutes long. So it's like a little over 2 hours. And for whatever reason, I haven't watched this in a while, but I didn't remember it being that long. But I'm gonna start this. Hi, so it is the next day, and I am here with a reading update. So I have made it to page 250, chapter 26, which means I have about 100 pages left, so I wanted to give some thoughts before I finish this. So far, I am still really enjoying this. My enjoyment level hasn't reached the loving it level, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. And one of my favorite things so far about it has been the magic system. It just has such like a fairy tale and whimsical feeling to it, and I just love that. One thing that I really like about the magic that definitely gives it a whimsical feeling is what before magic is performed, the person performing the magic hums or sings an incantation to perform their magic. And I love that. It just feels very much fairy tale like, and it's very much giving me Disney fairy tale vibes. And then another thing that has been developed since my last update is the relationship between Elia and Triss. So they have kissed, and I think their romantic relationship is like super cute. Their banter is really good, and I just love how they like take turns making each other blush, and their romance really has like that innocent feeling to it of like a first love romance, which I really like. And that I want to share a couple scenes of their romance that just shows like how cute it is. So on page 152, they're staying in a place where there is only one bed, so you got the one bed trope. Tris says, well, it's better than a tavern cella, and Elia wrinkled her nose. By what measure? There's only one bed. Heat flared in her cheeks, and she glanced at him. His reaction is super adorable, so it says, he had gone still, and that adorable deep blush crept up his neck. Adorable? When had his blush become adorable? She wanted to shake herself. He was going to get her killed, get them both killed, if she didn't keep her wits. And so I just found that whole scene really cute and adorable. Then another really cute scene between the two of them, and that really shows like what kind of person Tris is on page 154. And Elia has just gotten them something to eat, and she gets them this bun that's only available in that world, in the world of the Floating Kingdom. And so he has it, and then he says, I'm going to find a recipe for these and have them made every day when we get home. And Elia responds, because you like them that much, she laughed. And then he says, because you do. He met her gaze, smile solidifying into something more serious. I want you to smile like that all the time. I want you to be happy with me. And that's just utterly adorable as well. And so I really love those cute little moments between them. Now that being said, their romance, like, it isn't my favorite romance ever. Like, it's not making me quite as giddy as, like, my favorite romances do, but that being said, I'm still very much enjoying it. And also, I feel like a reason why I don't feel, like, as attached to their romance as I have, like, to other romances and other books is because they really haven't been together for that long. There really hasn't been that many scenes with them. I feel like my attachment to their relationship is still being developed. But then on page 200, something really big happens in the plot, and it's actually spoiled on the inside flap of this book. And if you want to read this, don't read the inside flap, because that thing is spoiled, and it doesn't happen until 200 pages into the book, and that's more than halfway through this book, so I really think the inside flap shouldn't have mentioned that detail. But anyways, that thing happens, and then the story kind of like shifts. It shifts like into a quest story, which I guess it kind of was a little bit of a quest story already because they were looking for the scroll, but it shifts now to like a different kind of quest story, and so Elia has to go do this thing. Just like her whole quest and everything is also just really giving me fairy tale vibes. And it's reminding me a little bit of the book The Two Princesses of Vermeer. So in this one, our main character ends up having to go on a journey, on a quest. And so this one is kind of giving me the vibes of this a little bit. Like, it's not super similar, it's just like the vibes feel kind of the same. So yeah, those are all my thoughts right now. I am gonna go finish this, and then I'll be back with my final thoughts. Very dark fairy tale vibes going on here right now. She just made a new friend of the creature variety. Hi, so it is the next day and I'm back for reading update, which is I finished Unlock the Dark. So I am here with my final thoughts. So I went into this book looking for a whimsical, cozy, fairy tale-like YA fantasy, and this definitely delivered. It 100% gave me those vibes that I wanted. And the author in the acknowledgments of this book talks about how she is writing this in 2020, and she says that she wanted to fill a book with things that sparked joy in the darkness of that time. First kisses, eccentric witches, magical libraries with trained lemurs, curses, monsters, and brave girls. And she 100% succeeded in creating that vibe, and that is one of my favorite things about this book, was just like the dark, whimsical, fairy tale-like vibes of it. And in that way, it reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite YA fantasy books from last year, which was Where the Dark Stands Still. Especially the last 100 pages of this. The last 100 pages really gave those cozy, whimsical, and dark fairy tale vibes, and I loved the last 100 pages of this. It had my favorite setting. It also introduced two of my favorite minor characters of this entire book, and one of those minor characters' name is Cuddles, and he was just everything. I loved him so much. The setting near the end also felt a little bit cottagecore-y as well. And then going hand in hand with the cozy, whimsical, and fairy tale-like vibes and atmosphere of this book was the magic system, and that was my other favorite part of this story that I absolutely adored. So the magic in here, I just love how it's portrayed and how it just gives all the cozy, whimsical vibes. Especially love how the magic system works. So I mentioned this earlier, but whenever someone goes to use their magic, they either like hum or sing the incantation for their magic, and I love that so much. And Elia's magic in particular, I really like how it was developed, and it felt very unique, and you could tell that like the author put a lot of care and thought into her magic, and it was just fascinating to read about and learn like how it worked. And similarly, Trist's magic, our love interest, his magic, it's like in its concept is really like simple. It almost seems boring in the idea of like his magic essentially makes him a really good researcher. But just the way the book described like him using his magic and how it works, it comes across as super magical and whimsical. And when he uses his magic, like his eyes glow, and that was just really cool, and his magic just felt really cool and awesome. So those are two things I absolutely loved about this book. Now, I am giving it 4 stars. It didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling, so I can't give it 5 stars. And also, there were some elements of the story that I really enjoyed, but I didn't quite love them. And one of those was the romance. So the romance was perfectly fine. It was super cute and adorable. Elia and Tris together, they're just a really cute couple. And I really liked seeing their relationship develop and seeing them come to know about each other and care for each other. But I didn't love their romance. It just wasn't my favorite romance ever. But it was fine overall. It was super cute, adorable. I think that it worked really well with the rest of the story. And speaking of the rest of the story, the plot in this, I thought the plot was very well done. The only complaint I have, which is something I did mention in my earlier update, is a major plot twist was spoiled on the inside flap of this book. And so I knew it was coming, I just didn't know when, and I kind of wish I didn't read the inside flap because that plot twist would have had so much more impact if the inside flap of this book didn't ruin it. But that's just a minor complaint. This book is a standalone, so the ending, it wraps everything up really well. I did like how it ended. It was a happily ever after, and it just fit the book really well. And then another part of the story I really liked was the world building. So this book takes place in 3 different settings. So you have Elia's hometown, and then you have the other world that her interests end up going to, and then you have this last setting near the end of the book in the last 100 pages. And I really liked each setting. I only wish we got more of each of them. For example, the other world they go to is really cool, and I think it had like a lot of potential, and you get the sense that it's really different from Elia's hometown, and you do get some things that make it stand apart from Elia's hometown, but I just feel like I wanted more. I want to know more about it and more about how it's unique and different from Elia's hometown. But that being said, again, I understand this is only a standalone, so it only has so many pages to develop stuff, and I think that it did develop things well in the page amount that it had to do so. Also, the plot of this book is fairly fast-paced, so the plot is always moving along, so really there was like no time for me to feel any boredom, and I found myself always interested in finding out what was going to happen next. So overall, I really enjoyed this, and it's definitely a book that I could see myself rereading in the future again. Overall, I would definitely recommend this book, especially if you're looking for a whimsical and dark fairy tale-like YA fantasy with first kisses, magical libraries, monsters, curses, and brave girls. And I would especially recommend this if you enjoyed Where the Dark Stands Still, Dragon Fruit, or A Fragile Enchantment, because this one definitely reminds me a little bit of all three of those YA fantasy books. So with that, we are at the end of this video. Let me know down below if you read this book, what you thought of it, or if you haven't read this, let me know what your current read is right now down below. I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye!